I'm fortunate enough to work for a department that has the most women firefighters in the United States. Being a female firefighter in the fire service, 25 years later, I'll be in uniform and people still, are you really a firefighter? You know, if you're not tall enough or if you're not muscular enough, you can't do the job, and that's really not true. But so I decided to take my logo and make female firefighter plush dolls for kids. I started a foundation called the Triple F Foundation, and I directly help other firefighters that are going through either cancer or on-the-job injuries or illnesses. Yep, there's always a gift in something negative, always something positive. So you just have to find it.
Welcome to Respond to Resilience, along with my co-host Bonnie Rumley, LCSW EMT. I'm David Dashinger. This episode, we're honored to speak with Lieutenant Tina Guiler. She's a trailblazer in the fire service and the visionary owner and CEO of Triple F, Fierce Female Firefighters. We'll explore her journey through the ranks of firefighting, her personal battle with cancer, and the impactful initiatives she's spearheaded. We'll explore Tina's motivation for starting her foundation and the creation of female firefighter dolls designed to inspire children and celebrate female heroes in the fire service. We invite you to like and subscribe YouTube, Respond to Resilience, Facebook, Respond to Wellness Inc., and Responder TV, LinkedIn, and all the podcast platforms. And go to our website, respondertv.com, for past episodes and guest information. We'll be right back to speak with Tina after this.
In this family, more of us die by our own hands than by the hazards of the job.
In this family, up to a quarter of 911 telecommunicators have symptoms of post-traumatic stress.
In this family, our mental health and wellness are in crisis,
while responders are quietly suffering.
In this family, many struggle with job-related stress,
burnout, trauma, sleep disruptions, substance abuse,
and relationship problems.
In this family, we can help the helpers.
With vital information and resources,
resilient strategies,
and success stories of overcoming the obstacles.
In this family, no one is alone.
Welcome to Respond to Resilience with co-hosts retired Lieutenant David Dashinger, Dr. Stacy Raymond, and Bonnie Rumley, LCSW EMTB.
We want to welcome Lieutenant Tina Guiler. She's a dedicated fire service professional who joined the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue in 1999 and holds a position of lieutenant and is currently serving as a fire inspector. Not only has Tina made significant contributions in the field of emergency services, but she's also the owner and CEO of Triple F, Fierce Female Firefighters. And this initiative also led to the creation of Triple F Dolls, a project that empowers and inspires young girls by introducing them to the world of firefighting. In 2020, Tina founded the Triple F Foundation, whose mission is to support frontline first responders dealing with the challenges of cancer, injury, physical and mental illness, and to provide opportunities for public safety-related education and training. Tina is also a breast cancer survivor, and we're honored to have such a resilient person with us today. Tina, welcome to Respond to Resilience.
Thank you, guys. I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome,
Thank
Tina.
you for having me.
We've been excited we're excited about every single one, truthfully. So people that listen, they hear us say the same thing, but we're really excited about having you. So thank you.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. I'd love to hear about your past and what led you into the fire service.
So, interesting story. My father was actually a firefighter, but he left the fire service when I was like 3. So I don't remember anything about it. He never talked about it. He never said anything. He just said, yeah, I was a firefighter. I was a driver, whatever. But that was it. I mean, I never went to the fire stations. Really, it was not in my life. But I was a teenager. I was about 18, 19. I actually knew firefighters already. Well, maybe when I go back to 12, I had a friend. She was about 12 years older than me. She used to babysit me and one of my best friends. And actually, when I got older, I started watching her kids. But she was a firefighter. And I also had 4 other friends at the apartment I work in, and they were all women, and they were firefighters. So there was a group of friends that was together, and they were like, you guys should be firefighters. We loved adventure. We loved helping people. I mean, I love that. I've always helped people. I used to help animals when I was a kid. I was always helping somebody growing up. So it was really in my blood to just help and give back to the community. Mm-hmm. So, 4 firefighters that worked in my community. They were women, and they said, you can do this. You can do this job. And I'm like, wow. I go, I never really thought about it before. And I'm like, actually, I think I would love that job. So I started applying when I was about 25. I finally said, okay, I'm going to do it. And it took me about, 4 to 5 years to get hired. But I actually worked for the same department my friends were in. So, and my other friend worked for another neighboring department, but I became a firefighter. That's how it all started, was women introduced me to the job, of all things. So that was pretty cool. And now they're all retired, because I've been in the fire service now, 25 years. So they're already retired, but it was just amazing that my own father was a firefighter, and he had no decision in, telling me to be a firefighter. So
it's a unique story, one that we don't hear very often. And just as a therapist, kind of psychoanalyzing everything as we do, it makes me wonder about the dolls. That's the kind of doll you'd play with when you're around 3 years old, when your dad left. So yes. I wonder if somewhere in there, that's a small version of what your dad looked like when you were that age to play with dolls.
I mean, subconsciously it could be, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to work for a department that has the most women firefighters in the United States. Wow. We have 262 female firefighters in my department. And I've always had at least almost 200 my whole career. So I've worked with tons of women. We're used to it. We're spoiled down here in Miami. So, it's just, we have the most women there. So I didn't have any, there were still problems, issues with women in the fire service, but not from what I hear around the whole country. It's totally different. But I was lucky enough to have that. And I just want to be able to have other women have the same thing, because it really does make a huge difference to be able to work with other women and have the guys, interact with the women at work. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And if we rewind 25 years to when you started, you were still kind of a pioneer in the fire service and as a woman. And I'm wondering, were there some personal challenges you faced on the job that you had to kind of overcome or work through, and
definitely
respect from coworkers?
Yeah. So even though we had the most amount of women, it was still a challenge for women in my department. You always have to prove yourself 10 times more than the guys did. If a guy came into a station that's new, he could do, a little bit to prove himself, but women constantly had to keep proving themselves. And even when you become an officer, same thing. You have to prove yourself, and the guys look at you like, you look like you just became a lieutenant, and I've been a lieutenant for 10 years. So they just didn't know, because I kind of have like a young looking face, but, so there was the age gap in their mind. So like, and they try to teach you, and I'm like actually teaching them. So once they learn who you are and that you know the job and you can do the job and you're a great officer or even a great firefighter, it's fine. They don't really, mess with you anymore. But it's a different challenge for women to always constantly have to prove themselves, especially when you work with different people. We have a huge department, so you could see people that you've never seen in years and, and never work with somebody. So it's always a challenge for women that, you constantly have to prove yourself. It's given with the guys, but the girls, it's not given.
Sure.
So that's one of the challenges for sure.
Well, I'm wondering, are there any specific programs or specific reasons why there were so many women in your department to begin with? Because it is a unique situation.
Yes. And that's one question that is asked all over the place is, how do we get women in our department? And I'm not sure I can exactly answer it, but I think that when I got hired, our chief was big in diversity, and he wanted his fire department to look like his community that he was serving. So in Miami, we have everybody there, from Haitian to all kind of different Latin America, countries in our community. And of course, women are in all communities, but, he just wanted to do that. So that brought in different people applying for the job. And we would have tens of thousands of people applying for this job because there was just so much opportunity here. And, for growth as well, because you can get promoted. There were so many, we have everything from air, land, and sea. So I think just that combination of things would bring other people, especially women, because they felt like they could be accepted, because there was already women here. We have always had tons of women. So I think that's what made it, easier, I think, for women to come here and apply. And, let's face it, who doesn't want to live in South Florida? I mean, it's beautiful here and it's not cold during the winter. You have the beach. So it's a lot of those things together, I think, the combination of stuff, why more women probably apply here, because it just feels like they're going to be accepted and they're not going to be alone, because in a lot of departments, there's only one woman or a couple of them. And then they don't really have anybody to go to figure out, okay, well, as a woman in the fire service, we have our bodies do different things, and the guys don't know how to answer that. They're like, well, I don't know. You just figure it out. And we have women in our department, and you would ask them, okay, how do you do that? How would you handle this, if you're pregnant, or, what happens when you're in a truck for hours and you don't have anything and you get a monthly visitor? All these little questions that women deal with, they don't know. The guys don't know. So like, I don't know, figure it out. So it's good to have other women to be able to talk to figure out those different things. And we train differently than men do, because the men use a lot of upper strength. We use our whole body when we're lifting ladders or whatever we're doing. It's just we train a little bit differently. We all train the same, but our bodies move differently.
Different body mechanics.
Yeah, right.
We remember growing up in families where challenges were part of daily life. Adverse childhood experiences shaped who we are.
Many of us, like you, have faced trauma early on. But instead of breaking us, it forged our souls. Just like superheroes who were bombarded by mysterious cosmic rays and used their new powers to save the world, adversity turned us into rescue warriors.
We were inspired to save people from going through what we endured as kids. We learned to bring calm to chaos.
Our strengths were forged in the fires of a painful past. Like a phoenix, we rose up from the ashes and found meaning in our experiences.
Whether we become police officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, 911 dispatchers, animal control officers, or corrections officers, the stress-induced growth fuels our desire to help others.
Responder resilience, turning adversity into the power and the duty to serve and protect.
Are there support groups for professional organizations for women in the fire service that you know of, or that you can recommend for someone who may be looking for that kind of support and sort of extra, information and knowledge?
Well, I mean, in 2013, FFF, which means Fierce Female Firefighters, was actually started by a coworker of mine who started it for that purpose, for women to go to be able to talk to other women around the country and get other, ideas, feedback, advice, inspiration, all that stuff. So I ended up taking over. It's a Facebook group, a private group just for women in the fire service. And I took it over back in 2016, and I've grown it to over 7,200 women in the fire service from 58 different countries.
Wow.
So we even have one girl that's in Africa, and she's out, out in the desert with no wells, no water. They have one tank on the back of a truck. They have no SCBAs, and they're just putting out fire with half gear on. I mean, they don't have anything there. And not only that, they're battling animals and all this stuff in the wild. So, she learns from us. And then obviously we learn from her, because we're like, wow, she did that. And she trains the little kids there, and she'll come on our group page and get ideas. So we even have fire chiefs. We have all ranks on the page, but it's really been a really good place for women to go and talk to other women, because there really isn't anything else besides maybe women in fire. They're also an organization that women can join, and you pay an association fee kind of thing, and then they do trainings every 2 years, and it's just all women. So they'll have 200, 300, 400 women training in the same place. They'll do live fires, they'll do hands-on training, they'll do classroom training, and it's just a bunch of us getting together, because we all think the same. We're women, so men think differently. So it's really a different atmosphere to train in. So they provide the training and stuff, and I kind of just provide the mental aspect of the job, and, you know, getting together with people and doing meetups and fun things together, or sometimes we do training. So really that's why Triple F was formed, because there really isn't anything.
We're going to share your links later for sure, but can you share with us now how people can get involved with the Triple F Facebook page?
Yeah, if you're women in the fire service or a woman in the EMS service, we have women on there too. It's just a Facebook group page. You just go onto Facebook and look for Triple F under private groups on Facebook, and you'll find us right there. It's pretty easy to find. It'll come right up, Triple F, Fierce Female Firefighters.
That's a great resource. So it's something that we can definitely give out to people that come to us as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's been great. I learned a lot of stuff on there too, and I've been in the fire service 25 years. We have fire chiefs on there that come on there and give advice. Girls come on and ask advice, and then the fire chiefs will get on there and answer them. So it's great. Yeah, it's great.
Well, along the lines of women in the fire service, can you talk about some of the common misconceptions or myths about female firefighters that you'd like to see debunked?
Where do I start? I would say just, you know, people don't think, if you're small, like a 5'3" or a 5'4", we have guys that are that small, first of all. So firefighters come in all sizes. They don't have to be these big, bulky men. You know, they can't get into small places because their shoulders and their muscles won't let them in. So firefighters are all different sizes. So that's one theory, you know, that people think about. Oh, well, you're not strong enough. Well, we are strong enough. Anybody can do the job that trains for it, is fit for it, you know, and that puts their mind to it. It's obviously not a job for everybody, but for the ones that want to do the job, you know, they train. And once you're trained, you really know what you're doing at that point. It doesn't matter what you look like. You're trained, you know the job, you get it done. So how you get it done really doesn't matter, as long as everybody goes home safe. You rescue people, you save people, pets, you know, and also, you know, houses and stuff like that, their stuff. I mean, it's all the same thing. So I think that a lot of people think that, you know, if you're not tall enough or if you're not muscular enough, you can't do the job. And that's really not true, because it's all about training and keeping yourself healthy and fit to do the job.
I definitely experienced that in EMS. I'm 5 feet, half an inch. You can't tell on the screen. But I would have people ask, or even patients ask, are you able to lift me? Are you able to help me right now? And then, of course, the short ones, we get put into umpteen windows, and we're in the back seat of the car when you guys are using Jaws of Life up front, right? So in some ways, we can use it to our advantage to be that person that gets put through the window.
Yeah, and back in the day, we used to have stretchers that were not automatic like everybody has now, and we'd have to lift them up on this, you know, 600-pound patients we'd put on these stretchers and pick them up. I mean, obviously we don't do it by ourselves, but you have a crew and everybody does it together. So it's really not, you know, we don't throw people over our shoulder and run out of a building saving people. That's the movies. Rarely does anybody do that. You're not going to do that with a firefighter either, because they got a tank. You're going to drag everybody out for the most part. It's going to be very rare. Kids, you probably, you know, go out of the house carrying them, but it just really depends on the person. But anybody that's big, you're not going to have a bunch of big burly firefighters come in and just throw them over their shoulder and take them out. That's another myth that really does not. It's not really how it works. Yeah, I've never seen that in the fire service. But
Hollywood does us a disservice with all the movies and TV shows with depicting the fire service the way it does. Well, we touched on this.
That's a common one.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other ones too, right? Firefighters are always running on scene in the movies, right? They're never walking, they're running. We touched on the dolls, and let's jump into it, because you know, your dolls are starting to capture a lot of attention nationwide, and it's seen as an inspiring step for inclusivity and representation of females in the fire service. So share with us, Tina, what motivated you to create the dolls?
Yeah, so being a female firefighter in the fire service 25 years later, I still get asked by people. I'll be in uniform and people still, are you really a firefighter? They think I'm wearing a costume, or maybe I'm not really a firefighter. I mean, if I'm come off a truck of course they're going to believe that. They're going to be shocked. Like, or if we come out of a fire and all of us start taking off our helmets and our hoods and the mask, and you hear, "It's a girl," you know, I mean, to me, that's not shocking, but it still shocks the public.
Right.
And I still have kids coming up to me saying, "I didn't know girls could be firefighters." So I said, how am I going to change that? How am I going to let little girls know and little boys know so they don't tell little girls, "You can't be a firefighter"? Because I've heard that too. How am I going to show them that they can be a firefighter? I decided, you know, I already had Triple F. Triple F has a bunch of female firefighter logos, and I would stick them on T-shirts and decals and challenge coins and sell them, you know, to the female firefighters, because we never had really a lot of stuff out there for us. So I've been doing that for years, but so I decided to take my logo and make female firefighter plush dolls for kids. So this is Ember, and they've got long hair. This is without her bunker coat on. So the bunker coat comes off, this little bunker coat, and the female firefighter logos are on the gear. And it's just like a real firefighter, you know, it's got Velcro, just like a real firefighter. It comes off. So it teaches the kids how the gear protects us in a fire. It has a little booklet it comes with. But this is Ember, and they can play with the hair, and the suspenders come down. The pockets actually work. She's got a hood like we do in the, you know, in the fire service, real hood. She's got two little gloves, little tiny gloves, and it comes with an axe. So the axe comes off, so it's removable. So they just take the dolls, and I've got Ash, Ember, and Molly, 3 different models, so keep it diverse. A blonde girl, Ember's the black, you know, the brown-haired girl, and Molly is the one over here, and that's Molly. She's our African-American doll. And Molly is named after the first known female firefighter in the United States, named Molly Williams, back in 1815. So I named her after a real firefighter, the first ever female firefighter, and she was African-American. And then Ember and Ash, they're fire reference names. Ember, Ash. So, you know, these have been going out around, you know, the world for the last 2 years. I was just recently on the Kelly Clarkson show the end of last year. So Kelly Clarkson's daughter even has the doll now. I was just on Good Morning America in March. I've been all over Fox News nationally, all over, you know, NBC, a lot of local stations, the papers, magazines. So it's been going out, and the girls have been loving them. I've gotten really good feedback. Like this one mom came up to me, I was selling them at a booth at some kid show, and I was in my gear, and when I'm there, they ask, "Are you really a firefighter?" And I'm in my gear. I'm like, "Yeah, this is actually my gear. I've been in fires with it." But yeah, so the mom comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I got to tell you," she goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe you made these dolls." She goes, "I got to tell you a story." And I'm like, "Okay." And she goes, her daughter's 5, and she was in a stroller right in front of me. And she was playing some games, so she wasn't really paying attention. But her mom goes, I'm glad you made these dolls, because my daughter comes up to me one day and she goes, "Mommy, I want to be a boy." And I was like, oh gosh, where is she going with this? And she asked her daughter, she goes, "Honey, why do you want to be a boy?" And she goes, "Because I want to be a firefighter, and you have to be a boy to be a firefighter." So that just broke my heart, because I was like, oh my gosh, this little girl's 5, and she thinks that she has to be a boy to be a firefighter. So I turned around and looked at her, and I was in my gear, and I brought the doll up there, and I showed her the doll, and she's just like, you could just see her mind thinking, wait, I don't have to be a boy, I can be a girl and a firefighter? She just couldn't believe it, and she just grabbed this doll, and she hugged it, and I was just bawling. I was like, this is so cool. The impact that these dolls could make just for a little girl that's dreaming about being a firefighter. Because it's not only boys that love fire trucks and, you know, the fire station. They always come by the fire station anywhere you go. Any fire station you're going to see, they're going to say, yeah, kids come by all the time. You know, we go to schools and do demos and stuff like that. And when the kids see a girl firefighter, they still freak out. They're like, wow, I didn't know girls can be firefighters. So in order to combat that, I figured, I'm going to make a doll and I'm going to get this out worldwide so that kids have something to look up to that looks like them. So the girls, it looks like the girls, and the girls are happy having a doll that looks like them as a real life hero, you know, because there's, you know, Wonder Woman, Superman, all that stuff, but real life hero to them is a firefighter. We don't consider ourselves heroes, but this, you know, it's our job. That's what we do. But the little kids look up to it, you know, wow, I can actually be a firefighter. So that's really cool. It's been really great to see that.
And what do you think about this reception that you're getting off from it, and everyone is just totally in love with this concept? What do you think it is? Do you think it's just this particular time, place, space? Do you have any theory on why it's all just falling in alignment for you?
I mean, I just think it's, you know, the last few years is about kind of women empowerment in different jobs, not just firefighting or, you know, public jobs, but I think it's just empowering women and showing them that they can be anything. And that's been going on, you know, a few years now. It's been a while. So the women movement, I think, you know, seeing a woman as a firefighter, not many people see that. Yeah. So when they do see it, they're like, wow, like, I didn't even know that. So like literally adults have no idea women are firefighters, because there's pockets where there's lots of, you know, fire departments that don't have any women. So, which is why my group page does, you know, such good things for women, because they can talk to each other. I'm the only woman in, you know, in several counties, you know, as a firefighter, and people don't see women in the fire service. Women only make up about 6% of all firefighters in the United States. Wow. So 6% is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket, and people just don't know. So the doll, I think, is one way to change that perception.
And do you have any plans to expand into dolls for EMS, police, dispatch, any of the other branches?
Yeah, so I want to branch out into all female first responder dolls. So I plan on doing, you know, a lot of different ones, from police to, you know, EMS, and make different firefighter dolls too. There's wildland firefighting. There's European firefighters. They wear the different helmets. So stuff like that. I definitely want to expand into that. Walmart did pick me up for the dolls for next year, just for the firefighter dolls. So, you know, hopefully you'll see them in the stores next year.
Good for you. That's so exciting.
It's extremely exciting, because just seeing the little girls' faces when they see something that looks like them has just been priceless. It's just priceless to see their faces.
And it's going to have an impact on the future of the fire service. Like, one day you'll probably be able to see that there's a tick upwards in the number of females in the fire service. Maybe this will be as a direct result of your dolls. So that's so cool.
I hope so. I'm hoping to cause a lot of awareness with it, because really it's just, people just don't know. It's crazy to me, because I'm so used to it. And the girls I work with are like, what's the big deal? And I'm like, it actually is a big deal, because there aren't departments like ours. So, yeah.
Well, let's shift gears. I want to talk a little bit about your cancer journey and getting the diagnosis and your reaction when you heard those 3 words. You know, you have cancer. Talk a little bit about how it all started, you know, the diagnosis and then the treatment and where it took you to.
Yeah. So at the time in 2017, my mom was actually diagnosed with terminal cancer. So I was already dealing with her and taking care of my older grandparents. I had to move them all over into my house, and I was doing all that. And then I hadn't been getting my regular mammograms. I was like going on the 3rd year without getting a mammogram. So big mistake. So I wasn't taking care of myself because I was taking care of my family, and I just didn't make time for myself, which no one should ever do. Everybody should be taking care of their own lives, and especially, you know, your health. So I finally went and got a mammogram, and they found something in 2018. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm not going to panic, because a lot of times it's just, you know, density, you know. and in women's breasts that shows up. So I'm like, all right, well, hopefully it's nothing. So I went to an oncologist right away, brought her my scans. We did a biopsy, and I think it was the next day or a couple days later, they called and they said, yeah, it's breast cancer. And I was like, oh. So having to tell my mom that was crazy, because she was already, gonna die from cancer. There was no helping her, but she was prolonging her life with different medicines and stuff to do the things that she wanted to do before she passed. So I went back to the doctor and we made a plan. I made a plan to beat it. I knew I was going to beat it because it was a cancer that had been treated so many times that they said there's a high chance of beating it. So I felt pretty confident. I'm going to beat this. I can't die of cancer. This is ridiculous. So, and because my mom was already diagnosed and I was taking care of my grandparents at the same time. So I started going to chemo treatments. If I wasn't at mine, I was at my mom's, and then I ended up getting, a double mastectomy. I got radiation after that, and I've had a couple surgeries due to implant issues after that. But cancer-free in 2018 at the end, and my mom was around to see me get cancer-free, so that was nice. And then, she passed in 2020, but after she passed, I really felt like I had a lot of support from my department, but cancer is still really expensive. So I wasn't working for a month and a half. So I didn't even have a paycheck. I had exhausted everything I could use to get a paycheck to get through my cancer treatments. I even worked through my cancer treatments too. I was still working while I had chemo, but I was a fire inspector at the time. I wasn't on the trucks. So I was able to work a little bit and take time off when I needed to. And so after 2020, mom passed away, and I just was like, I felt like I wanted to do something. And I started a foundation called the Triple F Foundation, and I directly financially help other firefighters that are going through either cancer or on-the-job injuries or illnesses. And the dolls are actually supporting that. So we did a couple fundraisers, but in 2022, I came out with the dolls, and every doll that's sold now, any of the female firefighter plush dolls, goes to my foundation. A portion of it does. So we've been able to help 25 other firefighters that either had cancer or they were injured on the job. And it's really the best feeling to give back to my brothers and sisters. It's really just something that it just fulfills me, and it makes me happy, and I just love to give money away and help them. so I decided to donate some of the dolls back to that, so we can raise some money for firefighters.
Well, just wanted to put the spotlight on you turning the adversity of that cancer journey into such a positive thing, be able to give it back to the to our community and support people who are going through the same cancer journey. So I salute you for doing that and finding the gift in it.
And there's always a gift in something negative, always something positive. Yeah. So you just have to find it.
And we're grateful that you beat it. And we talk about this a lot. We talk about post-traumatic growth. And so it seems like these dolls, it's part of your post-traumatic growth. And what can you do? And it sounds to me like you don't want to waste any time in this world. And that's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, definitely. Cancer will change that for you. You know, and you lose your whole family and you don't have anything left. You need a purpose in life. You want to, I've always just been a helper. That's why I'm a firefighter. So I just enjoy it. It fulfills me and I love doing it. It's fun.
At the core of every community beats the heart of its first responders, ever present on the front line, making the impossible look routine. Through the relentless pressure and the unseen scars, our frontline warriors silently battle the stress of the job. It's crucial they armor up mentally and emotionally, not just for the community they safeguard, but for the families they return to. Supporting the wellness and mental health of first responders is priority number one. By championing their well-being, we're ensuring they're unstoppable, both in the line of duty and in life. Step up for the titans who protect us, because when they're firing on all cylinders, they're not just first responders, they're game changers. Join us. Visit respondertv.com to be the difference.
We've covered a lot. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you'd like to cover?
I think we covered a lot. Definitely covered a lot. If anybody wants to apply for the foundation, for a grant, they can go to ffffoundation.org. And we have a board of, all women that make the decision, and we give out as much as we can. So apply. We can help you.
That's so
and
great.
Besides Walmart, where can we get your dolls?
I saw them on the website. It's firefighterdolls.com.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And they're $45 each, and they come with all the removable gear and that really cool box on this side.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you go to some of the conventions and events for the fire service. We met up at the Orlando Fire Conference, and FDIC, you've been there as well. So then you have anything coming up where people can find you with a booth or out there?
Yeah, I actually wanted to tell, you guys that firefighter kids actually love these dolls. They're even more special for them because we're gone on shift 24, 48 hours. And, the guys and the moms and the dads, firefighters, they can leave these with their kids when they go home, when they're going to work, and they say, here, you can hold the doll when you miss daddy or mommy. And when I come home, you can hug me. So it's something that they can leave at home that the kids feel like they're with them, and the doll looks like them, but it also looks like a firefighter. So guys, girls, doesn't matter. We all look like firefighters when we're in uniform. Mm-hmm. So, but it's pretty special for firefighter kids. They love it.
That is
this
great.
Is incredible.
Yeah. So, I'm going to the Women in Fire event that's coming up in September.
Do you post them on your website?
Yeah, I post them all over my social media, where I'm going to be, where I'm at. They can also go to the website too and find different events that I'll be at as well.
Okay. And since you brought it up, what are your favorite social media channels?
So we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can just find it under FFF, Fierce Female Firefighters. We're on Twitter. We're on everything. TikTok. We got everything. We even have the dolls on YouTube. We're trying to make a little, skit with the dolls. The kids love to watch it. So there'll be a lot of good things coming out. Hopefully, I'll get into animation with the characters of the dolls. That's also something I'm looking into doing, and maybe some trading cards, stuff like that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us today. It's such an inspiring story and what you're doing. We're grateful to have met you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, LT. Wishing you all the best, and keep doing this great work that you're doing. I think, like I said, I think it's going to have an impact on the fire service that we can all appreciate in the future.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. We're Responder Resilience channel. We're on Facebook, Responder Wellness Inc. and Responder TV, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and check out our website, respondertv.com, for past episodes and guest information. Till the next time, stay safe, be kind to yourself. Take care.